Introduction. Hi everyone, thank you very much for joining this webinar. My name is Stephanie, I am working for Biolie and I am here today to introduce green actives from our company. The topic today will cover sustainability. Sustainability is the idea that goods and services should be produced in ways that do not use resources that cannot be replaced and that do not damage the environment. On the other hand, a trend for natural cosmetics is growing since 3 years now, upcycling, where consumers are looking for natural formulations containing natural and safe ingredients with a low impact on the environment. They also want less packaging or more sustainable ones. Why is that? They want to know more about the ingredients and the way the ingredients are produced, where the plants are grown, etc. They want to have the full traceability of the ingredients, and companies are trying more and more to offer their customers the best experience using their formulation without compromising strong values, safety and transparency. So we see keywords like organic, clean, safe, vegan, also sustainable, transparency, and well-being being more and more on the network, and we see customers more and more aware of the formulations. We also saw a new trend with waterless formulas. So this one is a bit older, but it has increased also together with upcycling. It is the trend without water. So waterless formulas like solid cosmetics are more and more trendy, like solid shampoo, solid soaps. So it was the beginning only for hygiene, and now you also have skincare products like face cream, hand cream, makeup removers, so solid makeup removers that you will mix with water, with tap water, or with other hydrophilic molecules. The problem is that in those formulations, there are no aqueous actives. Why should we get rid of aqueous active molecules, which are good for skincare? On the right, you have the powder ingredients, but how much energy is wasted to dry the powders? We know that 800 million people suffer from hunger, and 1/3 of the food is thrown away or wasted. So 1/3 of the food grown globally is wasted. So there are more and more food co-products like cut waste, seeds from the jam industry, or plants which are not perfectly straight or perfectly beautiful for the supermarkets, which can be reused for other markets and they can be upcycled. For example, you can take ugly fruits to make smoothie, for example, in the food industry, or in our case, we can valorize those ugly fruits into natural ingredients. When they are wasted, they are lost for everyone, from the farmer to the consumer, but with upcycling, we are able to bring back value on those raw materials. At Biolie, we have a consistent strategy. Sustainable development is in the DNA of the company. We've been valorizing co-products since 2014. It is not a trend for us. It is part of our DNA. That's something we've done with our first ingredients and that we try to do with most of our ingredients. Today we have 85% of our portfolio, which is composed of upcycled ingredients. So upcycling, local sourcing to obtain certified products. Excuse me. So we don't want to remove food from people. We want to use food wastes, which won't be valorized if we are not using them. So the sourcing of the co-products, we try to save plants from rotting. We have chosen in this presentation 3 ingredients: a pear extract, a beech seed extract, and a cucumber extract. The 3 of them are obtained are grown, from 50 to 300 kilometers from the company. So we have local partnerships with local farmers, which are producing pears, cucumber, and beech seed. And we see that 1/7 of pear, 1/7 of beech seed, and 1/10 of cucumber are wasted because they are considered ugly or useless, and so they won't be used to their primary to the primary effect. So we have around 5 tons pear, we have 500 tons cucumber, and a lot of beech seeds which are wasted each year. And we try to preserve rentability for the farmers because we pay the wasted raw materials the same price as the valorized ones. How do we produce the extracts? We have developed and patented an eco-process, which is in a concept of biorefinery, but simple and efficient. We grind the raw material to increase the contact surface between the plant and the enzymes. We use an enzymatic cocktail that is composed of 8 to 15 enzymes that will have a synergistic effect on the raw material, depending on the extraction target, and to increase the extraction yield. We will hydrolyze the raw material with our enzymes at 40 degrees Celsius, so with a controlled temperature, mild conditions, because we are also at room pressure. And then by centrifugation, we will obtain up to 3 fractions, a lipophilic fraction, an aqueous fraction, and a solid residue. Those fractions can be valorized as ingredients, or they can be valorized. We are valorizing our wastes. If we take the example of Pyro, our pear extract, with 5 tons of ugly pears from the field, we produce 3 tons of Pyro, and we get around 100 kilograms of solid dry residue, which will be transformed into compost and distributed amongst the employees of the company and also the surrounding companies. We are in an industrial area and there are different companies, and so we are distributing the compost. So on the left here, you have a picture of our composters, which are on our parking lot. And on the right, we can also send our waste to a methanation center. So I'm sorry, this picture is in French. I couldn't find one in English, but you can see how it works. So the biomass is brought into those black roofed rooms where there is no air, so you have anaerobic digestion. The biomass is digested by microorganisms to produce gas, methane gas, which will be used to produce electricity, biomethane, of course, and heat. And the rest will go back to the field to bring food to the new plants. So we take one plant that comes from Earth, we can eat one part of the production, the rest is wasted. So we use those wastes to produce cosmetic ingredients, and our own wastes are valorized again into energy and food for Earth. So it's a valued cycle where we take from the planet, but we give back in the end. So let's talk about 3 ingredients. So all of our portfolio is obtained with enzymatic extraction. I have focused here on 3 ingredients. Of course, if you're interested on other ingredients from our portfolio, do not hesitate to ask Urai for more documentation and explanation. If you cannot find what you are looking for, do not hesitate to ask us. We can develop tailor-made ingredients without MOQ. It is not the topic today, but of course, if you have questions, we can discuss it separately under NDA to be sure that we keep confidential what is confidential. Let's talk about Pyro. Pyro is a pear extract with Pyrrhus communis fruit extract in the inky name with 3 preservatives: citric acid, sodium benzoate, and potassium sorbate. This is kept stored in room temperature, no need to be kept in a fridge. It is China compliant, Cosmos certified, origin France from plant to extract. As I said, The pears are grown around 50 kilometers from the company and upcycled because we are using the ugly pears. Pyro has been tested for its antioxidant properties with the DPPH method. We have an in tubo test that I will explain a bit later. It is an aqueous extract that can be used in replacement of the water in the cosmetic formulation. I mentioned the waterless trend. Here we are following this trend, but instead of getting rid of the aqueous molecules, we are using rich active water from the fruits, which is very rich in nutrients, vitamins, amino acids, and all the good nutrients that we can find in the pears are inside of Pyro. It will be used between 20 to 80%, preferably around 20 to 40% because it is very rich in electrolytes and it could disturb emulsions. But if you are formulating a lotion, for example, you can use up to 80%. It is 99% natural origin according to ISO 16128. Of course, the three other parameters of this ISO measure are in the regulatory dossier, so do not hesitate to ask for the regulatory dossier. And it is Cosmos certified 99% organic PPAI because we are using organic pears. It is natural compliant. So we have not certified it, but if you are interested, we can fill the questionnaires so you can submit it to Natru. And it comes from off-size organic pear. So why do we use this enzymatic extraction instead of distilled water? A lot of ingredients on the market are fruit water, fruit distillates or fruit hydrolates. They come from distillation, which means hot temperature, high temperature, which means also high energy consumption, and which means also distillation of H2O, a molecule which has a defined evaporation temperature, which is around 100 degrees Celsius at room pressure. And when you will distillate this water, you will only obtain the molecules which have a similar evaporating temperature. So if you have nutrients which are sensitive to temperature, or if they have a higher or lower distillation temperature, they will not be obtained in the hydrolate. So it is nutrient poor and degraded compounds. In our process, I explained we have mild conditions. We preserve the vegetal cell content because we are opening the cells with the enzymes. And so we release the inside of the cells and we get all the molecules of interest that comes from the pear directly in our extract. The extraction yield is also improved because all the cells are opened and so all the cell contents are released in the extraction medium. We have done a test with the DPPH method to measure the inhibition of the DPPH radical, so free radical scavenging properties, equivalent to vitamin C. We can see that Pyro at 10% is equivalent to vitamin C at 12.5%. So Pyro is a multifunctional ingredient which will replace water, bring antioxidant property, replace vitamin C, and bring all the nutrients that come from the pear. At a dose of 25%, Pyro inhibits up to 86% of free radicals. Then we have isocumis. Isocumis is a cucumber extract with the inky name Cucumis sativus fruit extract and propandiol. As I explained, we use enzymes for the extraction. We don't use any solvent. So propandiol is here used as a preservative. It is palm-derived RSPO mass balance certified, but and also Cosmos approved. We cannot find propandiol which is not palm-derived. If you can find a propandiol that is not palm-derived and still Cosmos approved, of course, let me know. I will be very interested. Then here, so we green the cucumbers, we extract with the enzymes, we filter down to 0.2 micrometers, we add 20% propandiol, and we filter again to have something that is clean from a microbiological point of view. Cucumber is known for its moisturizing properties. I am not teaching you anything. It is very rich in NMF, naturally moisturizing factors. Here we have around 50% of the dry matter, which is composed of monosaccharides, glucose and fructose, which will bring moisturization on the skin. So on the clinical study that we have, we see that 2% isocumis brings up to 21% moisturization and a very delicate cucumber smell. If you formulate with isocumis, you will see that you will have a very watery effect, very fresh and slippery. It is not silicone-like, but it's quite unusual and fresh to formulate with and without isocumis. So try it in your lab and give us your feedback. We recommend a dose between 0.1 and 10%, ideally between 1 and 2%. It is 80% Cosmos approved PPAI, so it is not organic. And we are using French off-size cucumbers cultivated in a greenhouse. I mentioned there are around 500 tons curved cucumbers each year produced by this company, and so we are using them to produce isocumis. This is the clinical study we have performed. It was done on 11 women aged 18 to 70 years old with dry skin on legs. And we wanted to measure skin hydration gain up to 3 hours after application versus negative control. And we did the measurements with corneometry, which is not the best tool. I agree. It was just to show that it was working, as we all know that cucumber is moisturizing. On the next slide, you have information about cell nutrition, which is based on bibliography. Glucose and fructose are monosaccharides. They are small molecules that can be used directly by the skin as food. The skin doesn't need to hydrolyze oligosaccharides to get the food. Here it's directly ready to eat or ready to use. So it's time saving and energy saving for the skin. Next ingredient is silver. Silver is an anti-aging ingredient extracted from Fagus sylvatica. So it's aqua and propandiol and Fagus sylvatica seed extract. Fagus sylvatica seed is quite dry, so we need to add water inside of the bulk to have a good stirring and a good mixing with the enzymes. So that's why you have aqua in the inky name. This ingredient is tested on anti-aging properties with a target on 45 years old women or men. And it has been tested on collagen, glycation, and also neuronal communication. It is China compliant, Cosmos approved, origin France from plant to extract, and upcycling. This one is collected around 300 kilometers from the company in the Vosgian region, so in the mountains close to Nancy. You can read the rest. Of course, it is always the same information. So we have a dose of 1 to 2% and 50% PPAI according to Cosmos. Let's talk about the tests. We have done several tests on this active. First one is inhibition of interleukin 6 and 8, which are inflammation mediators. And so we are reducing inflammation with silver. The interest is to decrease H dots, which often come from melanin overproduction, which could come from inflammation. When you have inflammation, the skin thinks that there is a sunburn, so it's producing melanin to protect the nucleus of the cells. With silver, you will decrease inflammation, and so you will decrease the melanin production, and thus you will decrease the appearance of H dots. Second test is collagen booster. We have measured the production of procollagen 1 by fibroblasts monolayers in a Petri box. So it is an in vitro study. We can see that compared to control, 0.2% or 0.4% silver increase dramatically the amount of procollagen 1. So this ingredient is very interesting to increase the production of procollagen 1, which is of course a precursor for collagen 1. On the next test, we measured the quantity of collagen on skin explants. So we collected skin explants on which we applied 2% silver. On the left, you have pictures. You can see that on picture A, you have a sparse collagen network with green and white parts, and just under, after treatment with silver, you have a denser collagen network, so it's more greener. You have more green, which represents the collagen. So here, the skin explants have been exposed to glycation, which is damaging the proteins in the skin, producing wrinkles and reducing the firmness and elasticity of the skin. On this test, we measured also glycation, but not on collagen. Here we targeted fibrillin. Fibrillin is a glycoprotein produced by fibroblasts and involved in the epidermal-dermal junction. You can see that it makes like a network along the epidermal-dermal junction, and with glycation, fibrillin is damaged. By treating the skin explants with 2% silver, we actively protect fibrillin from degradation by glycation, and so we preserve the epidermal-dermal junction, reducing the appearance of wrinkles. And last but not least, we did a test on neurite regeneration. As you know, skin is an organ that plays different roles, especially it protects the body from external stress, and it also transmits different information from outside to inside. So you have different I'm not finding my words, sensors for temperature, pressure, etc. that will capture information from the outside and collect it and send it directly to your brain. Your brain will then analyze and react accordingly. So it is very important to have healthy skin that is able to transmit the right information at the right moment. And so with aging, we saw that neurons, which are responsible for skin communication, tend to shrink. And so their neurites, the end of the neurons, are becoming shorter with age, implying less communication from the skin. So what we do with silver is that we increase the length of the neurites to bring back useness on the skin. We can see that with a dose of 0.01% in vitro of silver, we increase the length of the neurites. So we will bring back communication on the skin. We will bring back neuronal communication on the skin. There is no clinical study on silver, but we have quite interesting in vitro studies and a very nice upcycling story. Of course, if you are interested by more details on those tests, we have a complete presentation where you can find all the details. Here, you have the pictures of the neurites. So on the top left, you have the picture of the fibroblast network. So in red, you have the neurite network, and you can see on the picture just under, with a dose of 0.03% silver, that you have much more red connections between the neurons. So you have increased the network of the neurites. So this goes with the previous test. It is the same test, but here we have the picture to see it. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I think we still have a few minutes for questions. So if you have not yet, please type your questions on the section, and we will be more than happy to answer.